The Highlands that I see over the next kind of 30 years, taking my daughter through to my age, taking us through to 2050, when we need to have solved the climate issue, is hugely positive. How can you have this on your doorstep in terms of opportunity, in terms of renewable resource, and not have a positive outcome? Of course there's challenges, of course we need to do this in a just way to make sure that we benefit, for example, communities benefit. My name's Magnus Davidson. I live in Thurso. I work for the University of the Highlands and Islands. My specific field of research effectively looks at the environment, but largely the social and the economic implications of the environment. So I look at the socio-economics, or the social and economic impact of a lot of the industries, for example, that rely on the environment, a lot of the sectors that rely on the environment. So in terms of renewable energy, for example, we think a lot about how we capture the wind or the wave or the tides. What I want to understand is how that industry largely brings benefit to the people and the communities living here. What I'm really interested in is trying to understand these interactions between the environment, the economy and society, and how we can use these interactions, or the understanding of these interactions, to create a just transition for a just world, a just region, as we shift to net zero. A just transition is a transition in our society and our economies to one which works for all people, not just a few people. It takes everybody along with them. We're here in Wick at the harbour, which was a historic herring port and fishing port, but we now see new vessels alongside the more traditional vessels, and these are actually supplying or the operations and maintenance vessels for a big offshore wind farm which is just off the coast, hidden away by the cloud at the moment. So these vessels take people and equipment back and forth every day. What it's done is taken an area here, traditional harbour area, that perhaps because of the rundown of one industry was a bit more deprived, and has really pumped money into the area and has increased the work, the employment and the money coming in. And there's jobs here, people here. Actually, the jobs for the technicians, one of the restrictions on the jobs for the technicians was that they had to live within a certain distance from Wick to make sure that either it was bringing new people into the area or it was jobs for the people already living in the area. We talk about a lot of benefits coming in with the renewable sector for the communities live here, but the one I always say that we need to go back to first is the positive environmental impact from moving to low carbon generating sources. So what benefits the communities here in Scotland benefits on a global scale in terms of shifting away from fossil fuels. What renewables offers is a transition away from the one energy industry into another. Say tidal energy, we've got some of the best tidal resource here in Europe. We've had the world's 4th largest offshore wind farm being built off the Caithness coast. We've got the world's largest tidal stream array here in Caithness. So what this has meant is that we've wanted to use renewable energy as this opportunity to transition the workforce and the whole economy effectively into renewables. In terms of a transition, but in particular in terms of a just transition, academia very much offers the society quite a lot. Some academics say this technology is better, the mix of technology. There's roles for other academics in saying we need to do it this way to best benefit these members of society, these communities, to make it an inclusive process. But we should absolutely not forget that generally there's probably people on the ground doing a better job of it than we can. But we can capture that knowledge and articulate it and communicate it to others who are trying to do better. The knowledge that people have growing up next to the sea and on the sea is invaluable as we build out these new offshore industries, particularly in the energy sector. Not just that, there is a large proportion of people here working in the oil and gas sector. It's what's kept many of these communities alive. living here for 2 weeks, travelling to Aberdeen and then offshore for 2 weeks at a time. So for them to transition to an industry that they can effectively be at home and working in with those same skill sets, with those same higher wages, just hugely invaluable to the sustainability and the demographic sustainability of communities like this. We're looking at new wind farms off the north coast, so we'll see other ports in Caithness benefiting largely Scrabster and Thurso itself. And the learning that we can take from this to export elsewhere is just invaluable. We can use this as a showcase for what fantastic socio-economic benefit we can get from offshore industries for local communities like this. We're seeing a lot more emphasis from the government saying, we're only leasing you this ground, or the seabed in this case, if you can show tangible community benefit and supply chain in Scotland. So we can point to Wick as a successful story to other developers and say, if you want to be getting leases here in Scotland, you need to be doing it like this.